Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Oh god, it's been a while. I know there was a gap between episode 30 and episode 31, but for me, I recorded episode 31 in December, in the middle of December, when I was sick. I was sick with COVID, but I am all better now. I am now recording this in January, and yeah, last time around we had Green Tea and Sanctuary Part 2. Where basically, Mista was taken out pretty quickly by Cioccolata, so it was up to Giorno, and there was this whole back and forth between Giorno and Cioccolata, but honestly, Giorno was kind of in control the whole time, which was an interesting concept. And then, at the end, Giorno just unleashed the 7-page Muda on Cioccolata, and it was glorious. Glorious. Glorious, glorious. If I sound a little rough, it's because I'm not used to recording anymore. I haven't recorded in about a month, so I just recorded an episode of Prison Break, so I thought I was going to do more today, but I think I'm just gonna do these two today, and I'll do the other two tomorrow to save my voice, so yeah. But yeah, at the end, we also saw Bucciarati is still going to be taking on Secco, and we cut up to the Coliseum, and we saw our boy Polnareff. Our boy Polnareff is back. He is back, so yeah. But that is basically that. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Here we go. Oh man, he just had to run into Doppio. Man. Ugh. He just had to run into Doppio. How much can Giorno do for Bucciarati, you know? I really don't know. I don't know how much he can do, you know? I mean, he has fixed Bucciarati. He can't bring the body back to life, but perhaps Giorno could at least fix Bucciarati's body, you know? Maybe give him enough energy to move, you know? I don't know, but but yeah, that was an interesting fight. Unfortunately, I think it's a bit of a problem putting that after the Giorno and Cioccolata fight, because Giorno versus Cioccolata is such an interesting... I mean, aside from, obviously, yes, the big 7-page Muda being so incredible and everything, but that whole fight was just a really interesting back and forth, you know? Like, I really enjoyed that about that fight, that it was such an interesting back and forth, even though it seemed like Giorno seemed to always have the upper hand. He always thought of something. I don't know how, presumably after getting shot through his head, somehow Cioccolata managed to call Secco. I don't know how he did that, but yeah, so that's the thing, whereas this one was kind of just alright, let's just wait for Bucciarati to win, you know? Like, I don't think this is one of Bucciarati's better fights, you know? And it's a bit of a shame, because Bucciarati fights are always amazing, you know? But this one is alright. It's okay, but I don't know. The one thing I will say, though, that makes this work, being after the Cioccolata fight, is the fact that Secco stumbles into the exact same garbage truck that Giorno threw Cioccolata into. So now they're both there, and they're both going to be burnt. Presumably, Secco's not getting out of there, you know? Presumably, Secco's dying there, too. I hope so, but I don't know. So yeah. So overall, it was good, but I really did enjoy Giorno versus Cioccolata, apart from just the 7-page Muda. So yeah. But, whatever. I guess any fight would probably be a hard follow for the Chocolata fight. So, oh well. It was still good. Still enjoyed it. So yeah. So we got Seko calling Chocolata a loser for dying, which was interesting. And it was interesting because you can obviously see he does, through some twisted way, care about Chocolata. But, yeah, I think that was just him, sort of working through, like, his feelings, whatever feelings he might have, I don't know. But yeah. So, we did get to see the confirmation. It is our boy Polnareff. The French have returned. Polnareff, who is in a wheelchair. And it seems he's lost both of his legs, which is interesting. The hell? Like, what happened, And a question. Could Giorno give him new legs? Oh, man. He didn't... The Crusaders didn't have a healer, Now, granted, he didn't lose his legs to Dio. He lost, I think, like, part of his foot to Vanilla Ice, but that was about it. But yeah, but he was fine and walking at the end of Stardust Crusader, so something's happened since then. But yeah, which honestly is kind of interesting that it's like, boy, it seems like Polnareff has been through the most since Stardust Crusaders, Granted, Avdol and Kakyoin are dead, Joseph is senile, and Jotaro had to deal with Kira, but deal with Kira doesn't seem to be as major. I mean, yeah, he kind of got the crap kicked out of him by sheer heart attack, but he got up, and then he got healed by Josuke, and that was it, Whereas Polnareff has lost both of his legs, so, and yeah, Part 3 didn't have a healer. Part 3 did not have a healer. Part 4 had Josuke. Part 5 has Giorno. That would be an interesting thing if Giorno actually made him new legs. I don't see why he wouldn't, Like, you might as well. Then you get Polnareff. And the other thing, though, is that it's like, okay, he's bound to a wheelchair. He doesn't have his legs. So, yes, I'm sure, his mobility is cut, but at the same time, I assume he can still use Chariot to a degree, I assume he can still use Silver Chariot to a degree, because he only needs the one hand to, use the sword, So, I don't know. But yeah, but honestly, and I know it's probably hilarious because, Polnareff is kind of the Koichi of Part 3. Honestly, I did always like Polnareff. I just thought he got too much screen time in Part 3. So seeing him back here, I'm okay with that. It's just that Polnareff episodes, they really do vary in quality, Like, Polnareff and Jay Guile, what was his Centerfold? Was that his dub name? I don't remember. All I remember now is Jay Guile, actually. But that whole thing where he got revenge for his sister and stuff, like, that was a really great episode. I enjoyed that. Alessi, not so much. The ending was nice when Jotaro just shows up and beats the shit out of him. That was great. But all of that beforehand, that was not a good Polnareff episode, And that's the difference where Koichi didn't really have a lot of good episodes. Like, the whole thing, like, I kind of give a pass to the Yukiko episodes, Like, those, like, the two-parter of Yukiko was okay, and Getting Act 2 was good. Everything else, not so much. And I know, Alex is complaining about Koichi again, but it's in relation to Polnareff, so Polnareff, am I, like, oh, no, because, like, at the beginning of Part 5, Episode 1, Koichi shows up, and I immediately am like, boo! Polnareff shows up, I'm like, hey, this is Polnareff. I like Polnareff, I like Polnareff when Polnareff is done right, basically. So, yeah. So, if they do Polnareff right, hey, I'm okay with it, So, yeah. And yeah, he has the arrow that apparently he got the arrow in Egypt, which was weird. I mean, I think that's the thing, is that I feel like Araki came up with the arrow, and I know you can see the arrow in part 3 when Dio has his flashback. So, but that's at the end of part 3. So maybe around then, that's when Araki started thinking of like the arrows and stuff. But honestly, the arrows are a real major retcon. Now, it's a retcon that works because they never really explained how Dio got his stand. It's like, oh, because he was reborn with the body of Jonathan Joestar, he got a stand. It was like, okay. That has nothing to do with his vampire powers, but okay, sure. But it really feels like... So, having this, and then it's like, okay, Polnareff has an arrow. Where'd he get an arrow? Probably Egypt. It was probably something that Enyaba had. Why Enyaba didn't... I don't know, because I assume this arrow does something specific. It's not just another arrow. Did they talk about... I don't remember if they talked about it. But I assume this arrow does something more than just give a stand, you know? Because it looks different than the previous arrows, you know? So, clearly this is something that Enyaba had. For some reason, Polnareff has it. Polnareff kept it after Egypt, but it's clearly not something that was thought of at the end of part 3. This is clearly something that Araki came up with now, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. It's basically part 4 and part 5 have really tried to add the arrows into the story, but in order to do that, you have to try to add it into part 3, and they don't really fit into part 3 because they just weren't a part of it, you know? But yeah. Anyway, so we had the whole fight swimming through the Roman underground, which was interesting. The spikes, as gross as it is for him to just be downing dirt and spitting it back up, it was very clever. It was very clever of having it harden and then just completely just go through Bucciarati's body, you know. And yeah, that was a problem for him, even though he doesn't quite feel pain. It's like, I mean, it was still a lot for him to take, you know. So yeah, so that was interesting. And then they kept going and swimming and stuff. I think it's just a problem that swimming through the underground was not very visually interesting, you know. So I don't know. Also, how did they? Well, I guess Bucciarati probably doesn't need to breathe, but how does Secco breathe that much? Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's like Dark Blue Moon, where it's like, oh, I'm so good, I can hold my breath for like 6 minutes or something. I don't know. But yeah. So, I don't know. You know another weird thing? We never saw Sanctuary. Like, we never saw, like, green tea. We saw green tea. We never saw what Sanctuary looks like. We never saw his stand. So, that's kind of weird, you know? Oh, well. It doesn't matter, but it's just kind of interesting. Like, because when you don't do that, then it's just that one dude from MHA, you know? It's the exact same thing, you know? But, meh. Anyway, and then, yeah, as Secco got closer, he was melting Bucciarati's flesh, which was interesting. But, I like, yeah, as soon as it cut to Bucciarati and there was a car behind him, I was like, okay, he's going to use this car somehow. But that was a very interesting thing that, yeah, because, like, everything about him is just so, I mean, he's literally a walking corpse, that, yeah, he can blow up that tire and it doesn't affect him, you know? His eardrums just aren't affected. So yeah, he literally popped a tire and that blew out Secco's eardrums to where he wasn't fully deaf, but he was mostly deaf. So happened your friend is only mostly deaf. So yeah. So that was interesting. And then getting it. Now the whole thing of like, oh, I'm not going to kill you. It's like, you can though. But he was going to incapacitate him. And then it just happened to look over at the tourists and, oh look, Doppio is there. It's like, god damn it. So he took Doppio as hostage, but yeah. But Bucciarati would never harm. He would never harm an innocent. So he went through He went through Doppio to hit Sekko. I don't know what the fuck he did, though. It's like, he made a zipper, and then he just started melting, so I don't know what he did, you know? But then, the thing that makes all of this work, he stumbled into the same trash that Chocolata was in. So that was really cool. I did like that, but yeah. But now, Bucciarati is stumbling, he's stumbling, he doesn't really have his strength, and Doppio is right there, so Doppio, he's got the arms of King Crimson, he could just kill him. He could just kill him right there, so hopefully, maybe Jarno and Mista catch up in time, or Polnareff does something, I don't know, but I would say it'd probably be Jarno and Mista catch up, and then Jarno maybe tries to fix up Bucciarati as best he can, So yeah, I don't think we're going to be losing Bucciarati right here, So, then again, I didn't think we were going to lose a Bacchio when we did, so I guess there's that. I don't know. But yeah, really, it was a good episode. I did enjoy it, even though I much more enjoyed the Jarno versus Chocolata fight. But, this was still good. I still enjoyed it. But yeah, that is basically that. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist for all my JoJo's Bizarre Adventure reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.